Hello my lovely humans, I'm FCA. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm a little bit of everything, and for today's video we are going to talk about the jurors speaking out in the Donna Adelson trial. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Donna Adelson is a woman who has been charged and convicted as being the mastermind behind a hit hire executing her ex-son-in-law Dan Markel, and her trial was just last week. It wrapped up and she was, as I said, convicted, and several of the jurors have come forward. Now, the first juror to come forward was this past Monday or last Monday when you're going to be seeing this, and she had said, she made several TikToks about it. She was verified visually as being the person, people who were in the courtroom in the gallery said yes, she was a person who was sitting up there, and she showed her thank you note and another verification form with her information blocked out. So she made some TikToks, and that upset some people. People were upset about her age. She has revealed that she is 26. Some people thought she was younger than that, but it really doesn't matter to me. I don't understand why people were upset about that. She's the foreperson, and as long as you're over the age of 18, you can get worked up into that. Now, she also made several TikToks answering some videos, making some comments about what she experienced, etc. And jurors have the right to do that. They have the right to remain absolutely tight-lipped about it. They have the right to talk as they wish. And I really appreciate that we live in a world where there is YouTube, TikTok, Instagram Reels, where people can use their own platform and their own voice to express how they want to be and not have to go through legacy media where their information or their questions can be restricted, the way they answer can be chopped up, edited, and they don't get to have that proper conversation. So I don't mind that she did it on TikTok. I don't think it makes it less true or less professional or authentic, anything like that. I think that it's very nice of her to want to talk about the experience and express her experience in her own way. And several other jurors came forward. They interviewed on which I will link to everything below so you can see all of it for yourself. I'm going to be doing summaries here. There was a Surviving the Survivor by Joel Heldman, and he had the foreperson and two other jurors on his show. I didn't immediately make a video about the foreperson coming forward on her TikToks because I wanted to wait to see if anyone else came forward, if anything else came of it. Donna Adelson's official sentencing is going to be October 14th, I believe, and she's going to life in prison because she was convicted of first-degree murder, and in Florida, where this case took place, she was automatically, once you're convicted of that, it's life. There is no parole. There is no getting out of it in Florida. Once you're convicted, that's it. End of story. She was convicted on all three counts. She was charged with and convicted with first-degree murder and all the counts that go to that. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and solicitation of first-degree murder. So she was a co-conspirator. She was a person who was a part of a plot, actively a part of the plot, and in this case she was charged as being the mastermind, the person who initiated and put forth the steps and payment to make this hit happen. And so we were listening to all of the jurors. I will put up screenshots that I took of each person, and again I will link to everything below. So we are going to talk first about the foreperson's own personal thing, then her interview, then the other two interviews of the other two jurors. I will be referring to them as the foreperson, juror number 5 and juror number 6. I understand that they do have their own names out there of their own accord, but I don't have to be responsible for that. So let's get into it. So one thing she did bring up is that some people were questioning that she was young. Again, I don't understand why that matters as long as she's over 18. She was verified to be on the jury, so I don't know why anybody cares. I'm sure Donna cared. I'm sure Donna Adelson, because I have personally experienced this, just let me tangent for a second, where I have had people where I was the supervisor of my shift, and we had new hires who were older than me who did not want to listen to me because I was younger than them, because I was in my 20s and they're in their 40s or 50s, and they kind of acted or directly said that they didn't have to listen to me because they're older than me, that I needed to respect them because they're older than me. First of all, nobody has to respect anybody. Respect is earned by me. Some people think differently, but anywho, I've had that experience where older people think that they automatically are entitled to something from younger people, or they get mad and don't think that someone who's younger than them deserves or should be at a higher title level than them. And I'm like, well, I've been at this job for almost 3 years. You just started. Or whatever it is. Like, I'm the one who leveled up. I'm the one who got the promotions way before you worked here. But yeah, there's always going to be that. For some reason, there are older people who think that younger people just don't have rights to be elevated in any way, shape, or form. I don't understand. But anyway, she had made a comment about that. The things that came up the most, the questions that were asked the most were, what were key pieces of testimony for her, what stood out to her the most, how she felt about Wendy Adelson, how she felt about Harvey Adelson, and how much she was paying attention to Donna and Donna's reaction to the verdict being read out. So she had said that, and all three of them had actually said that Rob Adelson's testimony was very key. He was very early on. Him and Wendy both testified on the same day. I believe it was the second or third day of trial. I will put a little note here to fix that, to tell you which day it was, and I will link to it below so you can watch that for yourself, of course. But Rob Adelson is Donna Adelson's most estranged son. They live in South Florida. He lives in New York and has for almost 13, 14 years. And he talks the least to them and interacts the least with the rest of his family. He's the most estranged. And they said that he was like feeling bad that he had to be there, but he was the most authentic person in connection to the family. Then they said that Sergeant Corbett, he is the one who brought in all of the digital evidence, the phone calls between Donna and Charlie, phone calls between Charlie and Katie McBanois, who was also convicted in this trial. Charlie has also been previously convicted for this case. Then talking about the bump. The bump is a big piece of evidence for the jurors, where somebody undercover from the FBI gave Donna a piece of paper, and she said everything about Donna just didn't add up. And the foreperson was very much saying that she felt that all the individual bits and pieces in and of themselves, if they were the major things, then it wouldn't have meant much. But the fact that they were all there together, like there was so much collective information, it was too much to be coincidence for the jury. And one of the big things that struck out to them was the fact that Wendy and Donna were changing the boys, who were 2 and 4 at the time, 11 years ago now, over 11 years ago, that they changed their name back to Adelson and was using Adelson as their last name before the hit happened on Dan. So the fact that weeks before it actually happened, they were still they were acting like Dan Markell was already on the way out of the boy's life. That's suspicious. Wendy Adelson, they said that they talked about Wendy a little bit, but the foreperson was really focused on going, okay, well, this isn't about Wendy, so we only need to talk about Wendy in reference to Donna. But they did point out that it was weird, and that now you are allowed to talk about witnesses and if you find them credible or not. They did not find everything that Wendy said credible. And the foreperson said that she definitely noticed that Wendy almost never looked at Donna, that she moved her chair to look at them, and that Wendy looked at the jury more than any other witness on the stand. And that Wendy, it was odd to her that Wendy Adelson kept on going, I don't know, I don't remember, I don't recall that. and whenever it came to how interacting she was with her mother or brother on the situation. But when it was stuff that she knew that they were doing, then she had a crystal clear memory, and it just didn't add up. And they all found it weird and odd that when she drove up, that first of all, how out of the way she went to drive on Trescott and all the way around. Like, I'll put up the map that was up. They found that weird. And the testimony from the working officer, who said that she was literally the only vehicle, her Odyssey was the only one that just whooped out, and that she didn't make any phone calls. There are sirens and emergency vehicles in front of your ex's house where your children were staying the night before, and all three jurors said that everyone in the jury room thought that it was weird that she didn't call anyone, that she didn't have questions. She's like, who's hurt in the house? Like, what's going on over there? As if she already knew. She knew that her kids were safe. She wasn't calling to check on them. She wasn't calling to make sure that they were at daycare. As if she already knew. Or maybe she was checking. The floor person said that Jeff was also a very reliable witness, the ex-boyfriend, where the fact that they were renting the same vehicle that he had, that she was so questioning, that Wendy was so questioning about why, where are you going? What route are you taking? What time do you think you're going to be in this area? They were like, that's just weird. Nobody asks those questions, especially to somebody who you are clearly breaking up with. You know, they weren't okay with that. Then she also mentioned that one of the things that had stuck out was just how far the things about the emails with the Nazi uniforms, and to put her Jewish children in that. People were like, no, that if you're willing to do that, then that really shows a level of despicable. And she also mentioned anything about the trial. Nobody knew who any of these people were, and they said that they were very cautious to not take anything. They did not take closing arguments or opening statements as fact. They were like, okay, this is what I'm expecting to see from the prosecution. This is what I'm expecting to see from the defense. And they said that they were the four-person wanted to make sure that not only that everybody was absolutely 100 billion% clear, that they wanted, before they convicted this woman, this 76-year-old woman, they didn't know she was 76, but they said, before we convict this woman, this older woman, to the rest of her life in prison, which is what's at stake, we need to make sure that we are sure on all the counts. And they all said that they waited. They said, well, it was a very compelling prosecution argument. They heard all of this stuff, and they were like, okay, that's strong. And they wanted to hear what the prosecution had to say, because it was a mostly circumstantial and not a lot of direct evidence. It was very circumstantial. So they were like, maybe they were going to be able to, on the defense's case, be able to go, yeah, she did this, but this. Yeah, this, but this. Like, if they were waiting to see the holes that got poked. And they said that honestly, the defense just didn't bring as strong of a case. They just didn't poke enough holes. And that they simply did not believe the character witnesses for Donna, the friends, Anne, and the other guy who were brought on. They were like, nah, that's not buying it for us. And the four-person said that the one-way extradition thing, like, they went on vacations, but to non-extradition countries, did they do one-way tickets? It was, they didn't understand that, and they said that they didn't give a lot of credence. Anyone who seemed like they had something to benefit from Donna going to jail, they didn't give a lot of credence to. So they were sus about the stuff Wendy was saying. She said that they were also not giving any credibility to the two jailhouse informants. They were like, we believe the handwriting expert and that Donna wrote a script, but they weren't really giving anything to the two jailhouse informants. and that they also believed Luis Rivera because he took a plea deal. He was like, oh, I was given an option. I already had it. I already benefited the most I can benefit. And they said that they believed him, where he was like, yeah, I didn't know about anybody else. I knew there was a dentist, and I had asked Garcia, like, why can't we just, like, rob the dentist? And so overall, she felt she was trying to keep them on track. And they did talk about the snacks that they had. Apparently there were multiple Costco trips, and that they were given good snackies, substantial snackies, and that the judge went out and made trips for them to eat, and that they were given about $15 a day in pay. So let's talk about juror number 5, who was the next person to come forward on surviving the survivor. So juror number 5 is a young man who is in school and also has a job, is what we learned, that he was in trial all day. And he asked, was it hard to, like, stay away from the case on social media? And he said, honestly, I didn't have time for anything. I had classes that I was doing. I was trying to keep up with studies and homework, and I was going to work on the weekends. So he said that once he was out of court, he just didn't have time. Nobody was talking to him about that. They were talking about class and work stuff. And the foreperson also said that she's a mom. She's doing mom stuff, and that's not something that comes up for her. But the other juror said that he was confirmed because Joel Holdman was in the jury every day. He was in the gallery every day and saw the jury, and he was like, yes, this was a person who was in the jury. And he said that first, when he was taking notes, the juror number 5, that the first few days he was like furiously trying to take everything everybody said, but then after the third day, he kind of realized that he just had to kind of take highlight notes, that he didn't have to write everything down, and that he really didn't see every single thing that was said as vital. So he was only writing down stuff that mattered to him. And so that's what he said, that he was taking a lot more shorthand notes. He would note who the witness was, who it was for, and important highlights that he took from them. He also said that they didn't believe the jailhouse informants because they already had multiple convictions, and it really seemed like they were there because they were mad that Donna didn't come through for them. Patricia Bird was mentioned that she had told an investigator during the trial what Donna wanted her to say, but then when Donna couldn't come through with the promises, well, then they both flipped on her. He said that once again, Rob Adelson was a key person for him. Hearing all those things made him really sad, and that Jeff, being the ex-boyfriend, and Corbett, he said hearing the bump was really big for him. All the phone calls, those were really persuasive. Talking in code was really persuasive to him, that was brought up. It was like, innocent people don't talk in code. Innocent people don't talk in code. Remember the other 2 people being asked much about Bailey, the defense witness, the expert lawyer witness. But juror number 5 was asked about her, and he goes, she wasn't important. He said that he was more frustrated that she either willfully or stupidly wasn't getting the fact that she wasn't there, that she wasn't being empathetic, and that the analogy of, a garbage man might not think my garbage is as stinky as I do. Or I might think this is the worst smelling garbage can I've ever had, and the garbage man doesn't pay any attention because he smelled way worse. And Bailey really wasn't giving any attention. He goes, she didn't help them the way maybe she could have, but she really didn't change the needle any. She didn't change their mind. And juror number 5 distinctly said that he was paying zero attention to Donna. that he didn't want to look at her. He was pretending that she wasn't there. And all three of them also said that at first they didn't know whether it was Donna or Jackie who was the defendant, Jackie being the lawyer, the other female lawyer, the one who I said really needed to tailor her jackets. If you watched my summaries, they said we didn't even know which of them was which at first anyway. And he said that he was really trying hard just to focus on the witness stand and the lawyers, and that's what he was focused on, and that he was really trying to ignore Donna. He didn't look at the gallery, and that it wasn't until the verdict was read that he paid any attention to Donna. And so whatever she was doing, eye rolling, he was like, I didn't notice it. That's not important to me. What she's doing isn't evidence, so I wasn't there for that. And that's what he went with that. He heavily complimented Corbett being very organized and easy to follow. The digital evidence meant a lot. He said that he was really bored when they were playing the entirety of watching Donna write out the script. But it's like, yeah, here's Donna writing out a script. And he goes, and that also didn't help with the jailhouse informants, because it wasn't Donna doing everything. There was back and forth between Donna and Barnhard. So they just didn't believe the jailhouse informants, or they believed very little of what they said. And when asked if he was surprised that after all the hinting and information about Donna taking the stand, the juror number 5 said he never thought that Donna would take the stand. He never once thought that. And he goes, and after seeing the defense witnesses, he goes, I wouldn't take the stand against the prosecution, because she'd tear somebody a new one. And that's what I had said too. I was like, Donna probably got nervous seeing how hard Georgia went after the defense witnesses in cross-examination, and she didn't want to be cross-examined by that. So he said that he didn't think she would, no matter what the defense was trying to say. He didn't think that was good, and didn't think that would be a good idea anyway. He said that Donna's friends, when they were brought on the stand, that they were good friends, but terrible witnesses, because they seemed like they were being dishonest and just trying their best to be good friends till the bitter end, were the words that he used. They asked about the foreperson. He said she was great. They just kind of got together and said, they were like, so who wants to be the foreperson? And she had asked, does anybody want it? Because I want it. And they were like, okay, good. You can be it. No one else really wanted it. And he said that he was really glad that he didn't have to read the verdict, or that the foreperson didn't have to read the verdict, because that was very heavy. And he said that he felt confident in his conviction because they went over it so much, that they were thorough and detailed, and that they went over every point, just like the foreperson had said, that they were very detailed in going over everything, and that they made multiple votes every time they came to a situation. They went through it. And he said he was confident in his verdict, but he said it's just sad. He goes, you don't feel accomplished. It's like, okay, we did it. We sent a woman who hired to have her ex-son-in-law killed, sent to prison forever. He said he goes, it's just sad that you had to be there. And he seemed very empathetic about the whole situation. Again, the bump was very big for him as well. And he gave the defense a lot of grace. He said that they were doing the best that they could. He was open-minded to them. He said that they just didn't seem like they had a lot to work with against what the prosecution had. He said, how do you explain, the talking in code thing that was brought up? They asked him about the one-way verdict. He said if it was the one-way ticket to a non-extradition country, I'm sorry, not one-way verdict, the one-way ticket to a non-extradition country, he said that in of himself wouldn't have been off-putting. It was coupled with the fact that there was a Google search about non-extradition countries. Those two coinciding things was more solidifying, because ticket to a one-way country with a 90-day visa, whatever. The fact that when it was to Vietnam, a non-extradition countries, after that Google search was brought up, that was suspicious. He said that everything about Jeff was suspicious, just like the four-person, the similarly rented vehicles, the asking about the schedule, and he lives in Tallahassee, and he said that he's been on Trescott Drive. He goes, that's not a convenient drive. He goes, there's a lot of road bumps. It's really inconvenient. And there were so many other liquor stores so much closer on her way. Like, it just seemed weird that there was no reason for her to go out of the way like that. When he was asked about Wendy, he goes, I didn't pay too much attention to Wendy because she wasn't the one on trial. He goes, but she seems like she's involved, and she was just trying to help her mother as best she could without hurting herself, is basically how he described it. Then we have juror number 6. Juror number 6 said that he has a clear conscience, that they went over everything as thoroughly as they could. And he said that they were very conscientious about any slightest hesitation. If anybody was like, yeah, I agree. It was like, okay, we stopped everything and we went, wait, what's your question? What do you have against this? We need to go over why and who. And he said that everyone was courteous, everyone was polite and professional and took it seriously. He complimented the four-person on keeping everything on track. Like, sometimes people wanted to talk a little more about Wendy. She was like, okay, we're going to only talk about Wendy in reference to the case. And that's what she said, too. So that's backed up. He said that there was, that he was one of the people who said that he really wanted to go over things a lot, because he said she deserves, juror number 6 said, or juror number 5 said, that she deserves meticulous deliberation. This is somebody's life, and we need to be sure before we do anything. This is the complete opposite of juror number 6. Juror number 5 said that he was staring Donna down the entire trial. He was watching every eye roll, every movement, how she was dressed. And he said that he saw, and the other jurors saw right through the, I'm a little old granny, I was just defending my daughter. He said that he didn't buy that. It seemed fake. He said that he was paying a lot of attention to her, whereas the four-person said she kind of was watching everybody during the trial. The juror number 6 said that he was deliberately making sure to not look at Donna at all. And juror number 5 was locked in on her. He was like, I need to see how she's responding to things that are going on. And he would bring it up. He also said that Wendy seemed coached. He said whoever her lawyer is really coached her. He said that her driving out of the way to the liquor store wasn't what was weird. It was that she went that way to go to lunch. He's like, your kids are there or were there that night, the night before. They're not with you. You better be calling somebody. He said he goes, that was just strange. It was just sus. The bump was really important to him. He said, there is no way you don't know what's going on. You don't know anything, that some strange person comes up to you, hands you a newspaper clipping, and you just stuff it in your bag and then go about your day. He's like, no, if you don't know something and you're like, what is this? What is this? What does this have to do with me? He said, the fact that somebody just comes up to you, gives you a thing, and then you just stuff it in your bag and go off. He goes, that's not how people do. And he said, you didn't call the police like, hey, some strange guy gave me this paper. I don't know what it's about, but you need to give a description. And he said that they tried to play two ends of the coin with Charlie Adelson. Like, they were trying to say that Charlie was the one doing everything, but at the same time, the whole family was being extorted. And he also said that he didn't give a lot of credit to the jailhouse informants either, but he said he personally was really upset, and that he brought up in the things that it gave, that what he did give credit to was Donna's character. The fact that she was going to use Drina Barnhart's former addiction, like, oh, I can get you pills. He said, the juror number 5 said, I've had family members with troubling past. And he goes, and that's just despicable. And he goes, and I said that says something about Donna, that she's willing to dress her kids up in, Hitler youth uniforms and going to try to lure to get something out of somebody to get them back into an addiction that they're trying to get through. He goes, those are things that are pointing to how diabolical and devious she is and the lengths she's willing to go to get what she wants without caring about anybody else. She doesn't care how much drugs are ruining Drina's life. She's like, oh, you have an addiction? I can hook you up. And he goes, and he said that was really, that did something for him, saying something about Donna Adelson's character. He said that when Donna made her, the 4-person described it as an outburst, and she went, oh my God. She goes, that was a little outburst, like she wasn't expecting consequences. And juror number 6 said that when he did watch her, he just felt sad, and that he didn't see her crying, but he was like, this just sucks that we have to be here. And juror number 5 said that it seemed fake. He wasn't moved by it at all. She just honestly seemed like she didn't expect consequences to actually come her way, that she thought because of her money and her wealth and her status that she somehow was above the law and that she would get away with something. And when she actually got charged, she couldn't believe she got caught, that she's smarter than this, she's better than this. And he said it just seemed fake, and he wasn't buying it. He said he still felt bad. He goes, it's not a situation you wish on anybody. And he said that he was leaning towards guilty towards the end of the prosecution thing. He said, I told myself that, there's a whole other case coming. The defense has to make their case. I'm going to keep everything in mind over here, but they might say something that blows everything out of the water. And he goes, and they just didn't get there. They seemed like they had their backs against the wall. And he also said that it was everything together that made a big picture. He goes, the train car analogy made sense to him. He was one of the people who was hesitant at the beginning, who needed more information. And he said that, and he agreed that any chunk of things individually wouldn't have been persuasive. It was all those things happening at once that were persuasive. And I understand that I was repeating myself a lot, but it goes to show that all 3 jurors, that these are real jurors, that they all had the exact same deliberation experience, and that they all did go over things in detail, and that the prosecution was able to show the guilty verdict, or the guilt of Donna Adelson, with circumstantial evidence, with a circumstantial case. It's not like, okay, here's a video of her handing the murder weapon to Luis Rivera. There wasn't anything like that. There wasn't any security or CCTV footage of her giving the money to Katie Magbanois or anything like that. It was all text messages and email threads showing her controlling nature, her kids coming to the stand, and her trying to throw her children under the bus, where she was willing to try to save her own skin while pointing the finger at already convicted Charlie. And like Wendy was that, she's the spouse. You should be looking at her, not at the grandma. So overall, that was what everyone did. The jurors that came forward, again, I will link if you want everything below. It was about 4 hours of watch time that I'm giving to you in under 40 minutes. And I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.